There are truths that live in silence, not because they are weak, but because the world is too loud to hear them. Truths that vibrate in your body, flicker in your dreams, and linger behind your eyes when no one is looking. And if you are a chosen one, you've carried these truths your entire life, even when you didn't have the words to name them. You see, most people experience sex as something surface level. A desire, a moment, a spark between two bodies. But for you, it has never been just that. Even before you understood what was happening, inside you something always felt different. Touch stirred more than sensation. Intimacy felt like initiation, and desire, it wasn't just physical, it was spiritual, unspoken, uncontainable, sacred, and sometimes deeply confusing, because no one ever warned you that being chosen would make even your sexuality feel like a battlefield between the sacred and the shadow. No one explained why a kiss could leave you shaking, why the heat in your chest felt like it came from another realm, why connection for you feels like a storm. Beautiful, yes, but also too strong for most to withstand. You've tried to suppress it, tried to make yourself normal, to lower the volume of your body's wisdom. But it doesn't work, does it? Because you are not broken. You are not too much. You are not imagining it. You are a chosen one. And in you, the body is not just flesh. It is temple. Sex is not just pleasure. It is ritual. Desire is not just longing. It is memory echoing across lifetimes. And the truth is, there are 5 strange, hidden, often uncomfortable things that happen to every chosen one in the realm of sex. Things you've likely never said out loud. Things you've maybe tried to forget. Things that the world would call crazy, but that your soul recognizes as truth. In this video, we will name them. We will speak what has been silenced. And we will bring light to the shadows you were told to carry alone. But before we begin, I ask you for something simple. If at any moment during this journey, something I say touches a nerve in your soul, if a phrase, an idea, or even just a feeling resonates with you deeply, I want you to leave a comment with the number 1 or 11. This number holds sacred meaning. It is the number of divine alignment. It is the whisper from the universe that says, you are not lost, you are being guided. By writing it, you don't just acknowledge the truth in you, you help someone else recognize it in themselves. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the path of deeper truth. Because here, we don't run from complexity, we embrace it. Here, we speak the language of energy, of emotion, of soul. What you are about to hear might challenge your beliefs. It might explain experiences you thought no one else could understand. It might even awaken memories you didn't know you carried. But above all, it will affirm what you have always felt in your spirit, that your sexuality is not a flaw. It is a mirror of your purpose. And through it, your transformation has already begun. Now, let us step into the first of these sacred, strange truths. Because for the chosen ones, sex is never just sex. It is a crossing into something otherworldly. You ready? It often begins in the quietest of hours, when the body rests, but the soul awakens. The night has wrapped the world in silence. The lights are out. Nothing moves. And yet, suddenly, something stirs within you. Your chest tightens. A strange warmth spreads beneath your skin. Your breath changes. Your pulse quickens. And though you are alone, undeniably alone, it feels as if someone is touching you, loving you, awakening you. But no one is there. No one you can see. If this has ever happened to you, know this. You are not insane. You are not imagining it. And you are certainly not alone. This is one of the strangest, most secret experiences of the chosen ones. Something almost no one dares to say aloud, sexual encounters with beings from beyond the physical realm. These are not dreams. They are not fantasies invented by a restless mind. They are real, though they exist beyond the rules of logic. They happen in the space between waking and sleep, the realm where your soul slips free, and the veil between dimensions grows thin. You may feel a breath on your neck, a kiss that leaves no mark, but changes everything, a presence that enters your space with tenderness or power. Sometimes it feels like reunion, other times it feels like invasion, and that's what makes this so confusing, even frightening. Because you can't name what's touching you, you don't know what it wants, and yet, part of you does know. Part of you remembers. Ancient traditions spoke of this. Priestesses, shamans, tantric initiates. They all told stories of spirit lovers. Some were divine, others far more dangerous. They understood that sex is a portal, not just to pleasure, but to realms unseen. When a chosen one engages with that portal, even unconsciously, something opens. Not just the body, but the energy field, the soul, the light within, and like a beacon in the dark, that light calls. Some who answer that call are guides. They come with healing, insight, messages from beyond. They arrive with tenderness, awakening, your gifts, aligning you with your purpose. But others are not so pure, because light attracts attention, and not all attention comes with love. Some of these presences are drawn not by what they can give, but by what they can take. They feed off life force, they crave your energy, they seduce without touch and leave you hollow. They promise pleasure, but steal vitality. And when this happens, the body may still tremble, but the spirit grows cold. You wake up drained. You carry a weight you can't explain. You feel invaded, confused, ashamed. And still, you say nothing. Because how could you explain it to anyone? If you tell a friend, they'll laugh. If you tell a priest, they'll say it's evil. If you tell a doctor, they'll call it delusion. So you stay silent. But in that silence, something begins to fester. A deep confusion. A sense that something sacred inside you has been touched, but without your consent. And it leaves a mark. Not on your skin, on your aura, your soul, your sense of safety. This is why awareness is essential. Because you cannot close a door you don't know is open. You cannot protect yourself from something you pretend isn't real. The chosen one must wake up to this truth. Your energy is powerful. It is attractive. It is magnetic. And it is seen. Even in dimensions you cannot see. Which means you must become a guardian of your own energy. You must learn to protect the portal that your body becomes during sleep. You must know the difference between presence and possession, between guidance and violation, between sacred union and spiritual theft. And that begins with acknowledgement. You must name what has been unnamed. Only then can you choose consciously what enters your space and what does not. This first strange thing, these unseen encounters, are not just experiences. They are initiations. They are reminders that for the chosen ones, sex has never been just about bodies. It has always been about realms, about access, about power. And when you remember that, you begin to reclaim the authority that has always been yours. The authority to say yes or no, even to the invisible. Because the chosen one is not just a vessel. You are a gatekeeper. And the first step to power is knowing the door exists. It begins as a whisper, a sensation, a subtle but undeniable shift in your body when you're standing before someone you care about, someone you're deeply attracted to, someone who seems, by all external signs, to be a safe space. You want it. You've imagined it. You crave the intimacy, the closeness, the fusion of two souls meeting in sacred union. But then, just when the moment arrives, something shuts down. And it's not fear. It's not insecurity. It's not shyness or trauma. It's something far more mysterious, something that feels almost holy in its authority. It's as if your soul steps in, places a gentle hand between you and the other and says, "Not now, not with them, not here." To the outside world, it looks like rejection, like you're emotionally cold, guarded, broken. People ask, "What's wrong with you? Don't you miss it? Are you afraid to connect?" And their questions dig deep into your sense of self, stirring up doubt and confusion. But the truth is far more sacred than they realize. Because for the chosen one, abstinence is not always a conscious choice. It is often a spiritual command, a subtle yet powerful instruction from the soul to the body. A refusal that makes no logical sense, yet is completely unwavering. You could be lying beside someone you love. You could be entangled in affection, warmth, and mutual desire. And suddenly, the current disappears, the body becomes still, the desire evaporates, and the heart feels elsewhere. This isn't dysfunction, it's discernment. The chosen one's energy field is finely tuned, sensitive beyond comprehension. It scans the emotional, energetic, even karmic resonance of the other person, not to judge, but to protect. It feels what the eyes cannot see, the unresolved wounds, the emotional debris, the heaviness of pain not yet transmuted. And when that frequency isn't aligned, the sacred inner temple closes. This can last days, weeks, months. For some, it stretches into years, years of solitude that feel like exile from the very human experience of intimacy. Not because you have given up, not because you've shut your heart, but because your soul is guarding something sacred. Something not meant to be wasted on encounters that do not match your divine frequency. Yes, it hurts. The nights are long, the silence can be deafening. Your bed grows colder, not for lack of desire, but because your spirit simply refuses to open unless the vibration is pure, unless the intention is real, unless the connection is safe, not just emotionally, but spiritually. This is the sacred loneliness of the chosen ones, the kind that carves out space inside of you so vast and so deep, only a soul equally expansive could ever enter it without drowning. And the world doesn't help. Society praises quick passion, instant gratification, and fleeting encounters. It doesn't understand why you would walk away from chemistry, why you would resist the temptation of warmth when it's right in front of you, why you would choose stillness over pleasure. But you know, because for you, intimacy without resonance feels like self-betrayal, like handing over a sacred flame to someone who might not even see the fire, like pouring your light into a container with holes. This strange abstinence, this silence of the body, is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is your energy field recalibrating itself, preparing for a connection that is not just romantic, but revolutionary. A connection that will not just touch your skin, but will awaken your mission. One that activates your gifts. One that mirrors your divinity, and so you wait, not in shame, but in power. Not in fear, but in reverence. Because you know, the one who is meant to meet you will not be confused by your silence. They will hear it as what it is, an invitation to rise higher. They will recognize your stillness as the threshold to something holy. So if you have felt this, if your body has said no when everything else said yes, trust it. It is not rejection. It is redirection. It is your soul preserving your sacredness until the right one arrives. And when they do, you'll know. Because the silence will break, the current will flow, and everything that once felt impossible will open. Not because you forced it, but because your spirit finally whispered, now, with them, here. There's a dangerous kind of love that only the chosen ones understand, not because it's beautiful, but because it's brutal, because it starts as compassion and ends in devastation. You walk into a room, there's a pulse in the air. Your eyes meet someone else's, someone who doesn't shine the brightest, someone who doesn't even try to stand out. But you feel it instantly. Not attraction, something deeper. It's recognition, not of their beauty, but of their brokenness. You don't just see the person, you see the wound. You feel their pain like a silent frequency, calling to you from across the room. And your heart, shaped by lifetimes of healing, responds. This is not just kindness. This is magnetism. It's as if your soul whispers, I've seen this wound before. I've carried it. I can hold it again. And that's where it begins. Not with fireworks or grand gestures, but with the sacred, quiet promise of healing. You talk for hours, share secrets that should take years to reveal. And when intimacy unfolds, it's not a casual meeting, it's a fusion. You're not just making love, you're offering restoration. With every touch, every breath, every look, you're trying to stitch their soul back together. But here's the cruel truth. Healing and love are not always the same. And in your mission to mend, you often forget yourself. You pour and pour until you're empty. You stay, even when you're the only one carrying the weight. You believe if you just love them hard enough, they'll rise. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they leave as soon as they feel whole again. And other times they stay, but only to drain you, mistaking your healing for an endless source of rescue. This is the healer's curse. Because when love becomes your medicine, you forget that you were never meant to be someone's cure. Your role was never to fix. It was to illuminate, to walk beside them, not to carry them. And yet, you carry anyway. Why? Because it's written in your design. Chosen ones are often sent to places where light is lacking, to people whose hearts are cracked wide open. And your instinct, your gift, your burden is to fill those cracks with love. But when mission and romance become one, the cost is your heart. And here's the paradox. You know the risk. You feel it, even in the beginning. There's a small voice inside that says, this one is not for forever. This one is for a lesson. But the desire to heal overrides the warning. You step in anyway, because their pain mirrors your own, because you hope that maybe this time love will save you both. But more often than not, you walk away wounded. And the worst part, you blame yourself. You ask, what did I do wrong? Why can't I be enough? Why do I always attract people who leave me emptier than they found me? But the answer isn't in your worth, it's in your pattern. You're not drawn to love, you're drawn to the rescue. Because healing feels familiar, and love, real, reciprocal love, still feels foreign. You've spent lifetimes as the giver, the guide, the light in the room. And now, your soul is tired. It wants to be held, to be seen, to be chosen back. But in order to receive that, you must learn the most difficult lesson of all. Just because someone is broken doesn't mean it's your job to fix them. Their wounds are not your responsibility. Their healing is not your burden. You can still love deeply, still care fiercely, still offer presence, support, kindness. But from now on, you love with boundaries. You pour only into those who can pour back. You stop mistaking intensity for alignment. And you remember that love, true love, doesn't drain you. It restores you. You are not just a healer. You are a human, a soul, a being with needs, with desires, with dreams. Let someone meet you there, not because they're broken and need your light, but because they've found their own and want to walk with you, not behind you, not beneath you, not but beside you. For the world, sex is often reduced to biology. For the chosen ones, it is alchemy. It is not just about pleasure. It is a ritual, a transmission, a sacred fire that, if entered with reverence, becomes a doorway to dimensions no words can name. You don't make love the way others do. Because for you, it doesn't start in the body. It begins in the energy. Before a hand is ever laid, before a kiss is ever shared, you already feel the current building. It rises in glances, in silence, in intention. It starts as an energetic a vibration between two souls that recognize something ancient in each other. And then, the body responds. But the act itself is only the surface of something far deeper. For the chosen, intimacy is initiation. Some of you light candles, cleanse your space, prepare your body as if preparing an altar. Others do it in complete silence, calling down the divine in stillness. But no matter the form, the energy is the same, sacred, deliberate, vast. A kiss is not just a kiss, it's a seal of trust. A touch is not just a caress, it's an activation. Each breath shared becomes a bridge between realms. Each sound, each movement becomes a prayer your body prays in motion. You know what this means. You've felt it, the moment where time dissolves, where your consciousness slips into something that feels older than you, like you've touched the edge of eternity and survived to speak of it. In that space, orgasm is not just release, it is expansion, a wave of energy that doesn't stop at your skin but radiates out, healing, transforming, awakening. Some of you have cried during it, not out of pain, not even joy, but from the sheer intensity of the remembrance it brings. You remember who you are, who you've been, and who you're becoming. But here is the mystery few are willing to admit. The chosen one's sexuality is risky, not because it's wrong, but because it is powerful. To enter sacred intimacy without consciousness is like trying to contain lightning in your bare hands. It will either ignite you or consume you, because not all unions call in light. Some open portals that allow in entities, patterns, and energies that latch onto your frequency. This is why some of you have woken up after an intimate moment, feeling exhausted, confused, emotionally raw, as if something had entered, and not all of it was love. That is the danger of walking with this kind of depth. Without protection, without alignment, you risk more than heartbreak. You risk energetic interference that clings to your aura and feeds off your vulnerability. But here's the revelation that changes everything. You are not just a body. You are a temple. Your desire is not sin. It is sacred longing. You are not meant to shut this part of you down. You are meant to awaken it fully and wield it wisely. Because for the chosen one, sexuality isn't a distraction from the path. It is the path. It is where the divine and the human meet, where the soul reclaims its right to feel, to merge, to be fully alive. And when treated as such, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for manifestation, healing, spiritual awakening, and breaking ancestral chains you've carried for lifetimes, but only if you honor it, only if you stop dimming it to make others comfortable, only if you stop apologizing for its intensity. The moment you embrace it fully, not just as pleasure, not just as emotion, but as your spiritual inheritance. You will remember you are not too much. You were just never meant to fit inside a world that fears the sacred. Your body is not a problem, it is a portal. Your desire is not a flaw, it is a signal of your power. And when you stop hiding it, you unlock doors that most never even know exist. There is a part of the chosen one's path that is rarely acknowledged, not by spiritual teachers, not by healers, not even by those who walk the path themselves. It's the part hidden in whispers, in silence, in shadows behind closed doors. It is the forbidden face of desire. For some, it appears in the form of control, an aching to dominate, to command, to become the force that bends another's will in total surrender. For others, it's the opposite, a deep craving to submit, to be claimed fully, to let go of every defense and dissolve into the hands of someone who sees everything and still stays. To the outside world, this seems like contradiction. How could someone so devoted to the light be drawn to something so dark, so primal? But here is the secret the soul already knows. These urges are not mistakes. They are echoes. You have walked lifetimes in robes of power and chains of silence. You've been the ruler and the servant, the priestess and the prisoner, the mystic who denied the body and the one who surrendered to it completely. These memories, these energetic imprints, still live in you. And they rise, sometimes without warning, inside your most vulnerable moments, not to shame you, not to tempt you, but to show you what still needs to be healed. You see, your sexuality doesn't lie. It will always point you to your unintegrated power. It will show you, without apology, where you long to reclaim your voice, your agency, your surrender. And if approached with awareness, these desires are not dangerous. They are mirrors. They show you where your soul still trembles and where it's ready to roar. But, and this is important, there is a vast difference between shadow work and shadow worship. The chosen one is not called to indulge every craving blindly. They are called to understand them, to move with discernment, to ask not just, what do I want, but where is this desire rooted? Is it coming from love, or from lack, from power, or from the memory of powerlessness, from healing, or from a wound trying to relive itself again? When you look into that mirror with honesty, you begin to make peace with your shadow, not by banishing it, but by sitting with it, by listening, and something sacred begins to happen. You stop running from your desires. You start transmuting them. Control becomes safety. Surrender becomes strength. Intensity becomes intimacy. The dynamic shifts from something that owns you to something you wield with consciousness. But this kind of self-mastery requires courage, because the world does not allow the chosen ones to be this complex. You are expected to be pure, above it all, untouched by anything messy, especially when it comes to sex. And so many of you have spent years pretending not to feel what you feel. Pretending your fantasies are not sacred, but let me tell you this clearly, the depth of your desire is not proof of your unworthiness. It is proof of your capacity to hold paradox, to live in both fire and stillness. You were not sent here to fit the mold of perfection. You were sent here to become whole, and wholeness includes the sacred and the shadow. So stop trying to erase the parts of you that make others uncomfortable. Your truth was never meant to fit inside their fear. Instead, step into your full self, with reverence, with responsibility, and with the knowing that nothing you've felt is too much for God to hold. Because when the chosen one accepts their entire being, light, shadow, and everything in between, they stop apologizing, and they start transforming. You become not just a carrier of light, but a bridge between worlds, one who walks into the depths and returns with wisdom. If you made it this far, there's something you already know in the quiet chambers of your soul. This was never just about sex. This was about memory. The memory etched into your body, your energy, your dreams. The memory of who you are beneath the noise of this world. The memory of the ancient self that chose to return to this earth, carrying fire in the bones and light in the shadow. And now, as we reach the final breath of this journey together. I need to tell you something plainly, something you may never have heard spoken aloud. You are not broken, not for feeling too much, not for desiring what others call strange, not for walking a path where love feels like lightning, where sex feels like ritual, and where silence feels like protection. You are not flawed because your heart is sensitive. You are not less spiritual because your desires don't fit the mold. You are not shameful because your body trembles with truths you've never told anyone. You are chosen, and to be chosen is to carry a light so radiant, it cannot help but cast long shadows. But those shadows are not curses, they are teachers. Every strange encounter, every unexplained hunger, every sacred pause, every invisible touch, every forbidden longing, they've all been trying to lead you home. Not to someone else, but to yourself. You were not designed for surface living. You were built for depth, for alchemy, for transformation. And yes, that means you will often feel out of place in a world obsessed with masks and quick fixes. But do not let that make you smaller. The path of the chosen is not wide. It is narrow, it is sacred, it is holy. And it asks more of you than most are willing to give. Radical honesty, radical surrender, radical self-acceptance. Because only when you embrace your entirety, the fire, the shadow, the ache, the ecstasy, do you begin to live fully alive. Only then can your love become medicine. Only then can your touch become prayer. Only then can your sexuality become a portal, not into chaos, but into truth. And so, dear chosen one, I leave you with this. Do not fear your strangeness. It is not a mistake, it is a map written in sensation, in silence, in scars, in longing. Follow it. And when you meet others walking a similar path, the ones who carry light and shadow with equal grace, do not look away. Do not hide. Speak your truth. Because the moment one chosen one speaks with honesty, 100 more remember they are not alone. This is the revolution, not in temples, not in books, but in the hearts of those willing to stop pretending. And start remembering. Let your desire be sacred. Let your story be whole. Let your light cast shadows. Let your love awaken. You were never here to be understood. You were here to illuminate. And now, before you leave, I ask just one thing. If something in this journey stirred your soul, if even a single sentence made you whisper, "That's me," and then comment the number 111 below. Because 111 means alignment. It means truth, awakening, and purpose. It means you're on the right path, even when it's lonely, even when it's strange, even when it asks everything of you. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, not just to follow this channel, but to keep walking with those who understand the terrain you're navigating, the ones who speak your language, even in silence. There is still more to uncover, more shadows to honor, more light to embody. Until next time, I see you, I honor you, I walk beside you. You are not alone.